Have you ever set a New Year's resolution only to give up a few weeks later? I'm Osamor and I used to be one of those people. I'll start with the best intentions, but my motivation would always fade. And I discovered from the book Atomic Habits the law of making your habits attractive. By making your habits enjoyable, you will not only achieve your goals faster, but also enjoy the process more. Firstly, let's break down how habits work. Every habit, good or bad, follows a simple 4-step process called the habit loop. The first step is the cue. This is the trigger that starts the habit. So it could be a specific time, a specific place, or a specific emotion. The second step is the craving. So this is the desire to do the habit. Kind of like, that motivation behind that action that leads to you doing that habit. And the next step is the response. This is the actual habit itself. That action that you take, whether it's calling your phone, so that action, that is actually the response. And the last step is the reward. So this is the positive outcome that reinforces that habit and makes it more likely for you to do it again. Now I want you to think of it like this. Every time you check your phone, you are going through this loop. So now let's break it down to understand it better. So now the first one, which is the cue, so that would be when the notification pops up on your phone. Your phone receives that notification. That's the cue, that's the trigger. Then the next is the craving, which is you wanting to check whatever that message is about. Then the response is you unlocking your phone to check what the message is. And the reward is the satisfaction you get from seeing the message or seeing that new content you see on your phone. Now let's talk about dopamine. It's a feel-good chemical in your brain that plays a crucial role in habit formation. When you do something pleasurable like scrolling your phone, your brain releases dopamine, which in turn makes you feel good. Over time, your brain then associates the cue with the reward, and you start craving that behavior. So kind of like when you are bored, you solve it by scrolling on social media. Before we dive into the next point, we'll appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the year. Now that we understand the science behind habit formation, let's dive into practical strategies to make your habits more attractive. The first strategy is temptation bundling. So it's a technique where you pair an activity you want to do, an activity you already enjoy doing. So for example, I listen to podcasts or I watch YouTube videos while I do the chores in the house. So that's kind of what I do. But so another example you could also try is maybe watching TV or your favorite TV show while you fold laundry. So it's something that you can always, mix and match based on, what works best for you. But the whole point is basically by combining your desired activity with a tempting one, you will make the desired activity more appealing. The second strategy is habit stacking. So this involves adding a new habit to an existing one. For example, if you already have a habit of brushing your teeth, which you should, you could also add a habit of flossing right after you brush your teeth. So it's kind of like they go after each other. So it's like once you do what you usually do, follow it up with something that you actually want to start doing. So in that case, you finish brushing, then you can floss right after. So basically, by connecting a new habit to an existing one, you make them easier to form. The last strategy is to visualize your future self. So now I want you to take a moment to imagine your future self. What do you want to become? What kind of person do you want to be? So with that example, then I want you to apply it in this case of habits. So let's say you want to develop a habit of working out. So I want you now to picture, okay, if I was to start working out, how would that look for me? How would I look? Imagine yourself and picture yourself with a really good physique. Would you be healthier? Would you be more productive? Would you be more confident? The more vivid, you are able to visualize what I'm trying to tell you today, the stronger your motivation will be. Before we dive into the next point, we'll appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the year. Now let's talk about how to make your bad habits less attractive. The first step is to identify your triggers. So what are the cues that lead you to engage in these bad habits? Is it stress that leads you to unhealthy eating? Or is it boredom that makes you scroll your phone endlessly? Or is it loneliness that pushes you to unhealthy social habits? So you could customize it to, suit the habits you are currently experiencing. Then once you've been able to identify those triggers, you can then start to avoid or minimize them. For avoiding triggers, if you've been able to identify those certain places or those people that tend to trigger those bad habits in you, try to avoid them. So let me give you an example. So if you tend to overeat when you're bored like me, find activities that keep you occupied. So you could read, or you could go for a walk, or do something else that isn't that bad habit, at least for a start. You could also remove the cues that prompt your bad habits. So let's say you're trying to reduce the screen time on your phone. So you could turn off unnecessary notifications and then schedule times to check your phone. In that case, you checking your phone is more intentional rather than subconscious. Because I know a lot of us, like me, sometimes I just turn off the phone and just leave it. But the fact is that, things will be needed for some things can happen. So be more intentional about it. Okay, by 12 p.m., when I'm done with this work, I will have like 15 minutes to go through messages, go through different things, and check my phone. So make it more intentional rather than it just happening subconsciously. So by understanding your triggers and taking steps to avoid or minimize them, you can make your bad habits less attractive and easier to resist. So let's recap. We've discussed the science of habit formation, the importance of making your habits attractive, and strategies you can use to make your good habits stick and your bad habits break. Now it's time to take action. I want you to choose one or two of the strategies I talked about in this video and start to implement them from today in your daily life. And remember, small steps lead to big changes. And if you want to discover how to make your habits effortless, click the video on the screen. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Also, let me know in the comments the content you'd like to see in this channel. And on that note, I'll see you guys on the other side.